Hello students, we will be continuing with chapter number 11, Human Body and Organ System for Standard 8th. Subject is Science and you are watching part 3 of the video. All human beings have a fluid circulating in their body. This fluid helps in distributing or transporting various substances to the different parts of the body. Also, this fluid helps in picking up or collecting substances from various parts of the body, including the remotest of cell. The name of this circulating fluid is blood. So, in this video, we will study about blood, a body fluid. The circulatory system of human beings consists of heart, veins, arteries and capillaries. So this is the heart. These blood vessels which are shown in blue color are the veins. These blood vessels which are shown in red color are the arteries, and this network of thin walled blood vessels is called as the capillaries. It is clear from the given diagram that blood in a body circulates in a closed manner. That is, blood moves all the time through these tube-like structures which are called as the blood vessels. Such a type of blood circulation is called as closed blood circulation. Blood is an important component of the circulatory system. It is a thick fluid which is deep red or bright red in color. It is called as a fluid connective tissue. An average adult human being contains about 5 to 6 liters of blood in his body. You all must have tasted blood at some time or the other, and you must have experienced that the blood is salty to taste. Blood is slightly alkaline with a pH of about 7.3 to 7.45. Blood consists of two components, the plasma component and the non-plasma component. So, this pale yellow colored fluid is called as the plasma component of the blood, and it forms the fluid part of the blood. The non-plasma component, which is red in color, consists of cellular elements or three different types of cells. The plasma is a pale yellow colored or a light yellow colored fluid. It is clear and slightly alkaline in nature. It makes up about 55 to 60% of the total volume of blood present in our body. The plasma contains 90 to 92% of water. That means major portion of the plasma is water. The remaining portion of plasma consists of 6 to 8% proteins, 1 to 2% of inorganic salts, and there are other substances but they are present in traces. Though the plasma contains 90 to 92% water, the other substances are present in solid form. So the solid substances in plasma include inorganic salts like the sodium chloride and sodium carbonate, proteins like albumin, globulin, fibrinogen. There are organic substances such as antibodies, hormones, vitamins, enzymes, and glucose, that is blood sugar, as well as urea. The non-plasma portion or the cellular portion of blood is composed of three types of cells. They are the red blood cells, also called as erythrocytes, the white blood cells called as the leukocytes, and the blood platelets, which are called as thrombocytes. Let us begin with the study of cellular components or cellular elements which are present in the blood. We'll begin with the red blood corpuscles. The red blood corpuscles are also called as erythrocytes. Erythros means red and cytes means cells. So the red cells present in the blood are the erythrocytes. You will find that these cells are minute in size and they are in the shape of disc-like structures. So they are biconcave disc, that is they are biconcave from both the sides. Also you will find that the center portion of the RBCs is flat, whereas the periphery is thick and rounded. The edge is thick and rounded. Also these cells do not have nuclei, so they lack nuclei. The biconcave shape of the RBCs provides a larger surface area for absorption of oxygen to take place. An adult human male has about 5 millions of RBCs in per cubic milliliter of blood, whereas an adult female has slightly less number of RBCs, that is about 4.5 million RBCs in per cubic milliliter of blood. In adults, the RBCs are produced in the marrow of the long bone. So this is the marrow, the center portion of the bone. So this is where the RBCs are produced. The RBCs have a life of about 100 days to 127 days. The red blood corpuscles are red in color because they contain a pigment which is called as hemoglobin. This hemoglobin has the ability to combine readily with oxygen to form a compound called as oxyhemoglobin, and this oxyhemoglobin is carried to all the parts of the body where the oxygen is readily given up by the hemoglobin to the needy tissues. Children, the rapid transport of oxygen from the lungs to the different parts of the body is because of the red colored pigment called as hemoglobin in the blood. Have you ever imagined what would happen if there is a deficiency of hemoglobin in the blood? Deficiency of hemoglobin in the blood leads to a condition called as anemia. Anemia means lack of hemoglobin, and lack of hemoglobin in the blood means less supply of oxygen to the cells and tissues in the body. And if there is a less supply of oxygen to the cells and tissues in the body, then symptoms such as tiredness, constant mild headache, lack of energy are experienced by a person. So, deficiency of hemoglobin in the human body leads to a condition which is called as anemia. White blood corpuscles. White blood corpuscles are also called as leukocytes. Leukos means white and cytes means cells. So the white blood cells or the white cells which are present in the blood are called as leukocytes. So as these cells are white in color, these are colorless cells. So this is how a WBC looks like. If you look at each and every cell, you will find that these cells have a nucleus present in them. So these are nucleated cells. The number of WBCs is much less in the human blood. That is about 5,000 to 10,000 in per cubic millimeter of blood. Based on their shapes, there are two major categories of WBCs. They are the granular WBCs and the non-granular WBCs. The name granular says that there are small particles or granules present in the WBCs. So these three, that is eosinophil, basophil and neutrophil, you can see there is presence of granules in them. So these three are termed as the granular WBCs. Whereas if you look at the monocytes and the lymphocytes, these do not have the particles or granules present in them. So these come under the category of non-granular WBCs. The neutrophils play a very important role in engulfing the bacteria. The eosinophils also help in engulfing the bacteria and secreting antitoxins in the body. The basophils release a chemical called as histamine for inflammation, which helps in dilating the blood vessel, that is enlargement of the blood vessel. जब भी हमें किसी जगह पे चोट आ जाती है तो हमें वहाँ पे जलन महसूस होती है, तो वो इस वजह से होती है क्योंकि ये जो बेसोफिल्स है ये एक केमिकल रिलीज करते हैं जिनका नाम है हिस्टामाइन, और वो हिस्टामाइन रिलीज होने की वजह से हमें उस बॉडी पार्ट में एक जलन महसूस होती है और उस समय वहाँ पे ब्लड वेसल जो है वो फैल जाता है यानी डायलेट हो जाता है. The non-granular WBCs are monocytes and lymphocytes. The lymphocytes produce antibodies and also help in killing or neutralizing the germs that gain an entry into our body. The monocytes are responsible for ingesting the germs that enter our body. So basically the WBCs are the soldiers of our body. They form the defense system of our body. The WBCs are produced in the marrow of our bones. WBCs protect us from illnesses and diseases. So they are the immunity cells of our body. They flow through our blood to the various parts of our body and they fight against the viruses, bacteria, fungi or any other foreign substances that enter our body. So basically WBCs are the soldiers of our body. The blood platelets are also called as thrombocytes. These are minute oval or round structures. These cells are non-nucleated, that is these cells do not have a nuclei and they float in the blood. There are about 2.5 to 4 lakh platelets in per cubic millimeter of blood. The platelets are formed in the bone marrow. The blood platelets play a very important role in clotting of blood. So, whenever there is injury to any part of the body and there is loss of blood from the blood vessels, then the blood platelets help to prevent the loss of the very precious fluid, that is blood, from our body by formation of clots or white thrombus at the place of injury. Functions of blood. Blood transports the digested food from the digestive system to the cells and tissues. These substances which are carried by the blood are in very simple form like glucose, amino acids, vitamins, mineral salts, etc. Blood helps in transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide. The oxygen from the lungs enters into the blood. In the blood, the RBC immediately takes up the oxygen to form an unstable compound called as oxyhemoglobin. This oxyhemoglobin, on reaching the cells and tissues, gives up oxygen to the needy cells and tissues. At the same time, the blood also transports carbon dioxide from the tissues into the lungs. So this is the blood vessel which has brought the blood which is containing carbon dioxide from the cells and tissues, and from the blood vessel it enters into the lungs, and from the lungs the CO2 is expelled out during the process of exhalation. So blood helps in transportation and exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Blood also helps in transportation of excretory materials from the different tissues to the liver, or it could be to the kidney or to the skin, for removal or elimination of waste products from the body. Blood also helps in transportation of enzymes and hormones. The hormones are secreted by the endocrine glands, and these hormones are directly passed into the bloodstream. Enzymes are proteins which help in bringing about biochemical reactions in the body. So the enzymes and hormones are transported to the required parts of the body by the blood. The blood carries out a very important function of thermoregulation. That is, the blood helps in keeping the temperature of the body uniform or constant by distributing the heat inside the body. Blood helps in maintaining the balance of minerals like sodium and potassium in the body, because both sodium and potassium in the body work together to maintain normal water balance in the body. So both sodium and potassium attract water and thereby maintain an optimum level of water in and out of the cells. So the main function of sodium and potassium in the body is to maintain the level of water in the body. Whenever a cut takes place in any part of the body, then there is loss of blood from that particular part of the body. So whenever loss of blood takes place from a particular part of the body, the blood immediately forms a clot in the part where there is a cut in the blood vessel, and this is done with the help of platelets and a protein which is called as fibrinogen. So both platelets and fibrinogen helps in formation of a clot, thereby sealing the place of injury.